just be a couple more minutes while I get everything set up. Also, sorry, my mouse way drier than I expected there. Alrighty. Hopefully I've got my microphone configured, so yeah, it's a bit noisy outside, so hopefully that's getting filtered out. Let's see, webcam on. How's it going, everyone? So yeah, a new game today. We'll get to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles in just a sec. Cosplay update. These are my new horns. So yeah, obviously I'm not wearing them yet because I still need to get the silicone bit done for the base, but yeah, I like the sort of cartoony effect of these latex ones, but this will be a nice sort of change of pace if I can get them finished. But yeah, I thought I'd have more to say there, but not really. Apparently not. I mean, as you might know, this is my second week off work, so I'll be streaming tomorrow and Wednesday, and hopefully I'll be back wearing cosplay then as well. So who knows, maybe I'll have it done for tomorrow or Wednesday. Probably not tomorrow, but maybe Wednesday. Or maybe I'll just play more Baldur's Gate. Speaking of. But yeah, I digress. I did boot it briefly to make sure it was getting picked up by OBS. So hopefully this should work. controller ROM. Notice? The snarf black dates back to prehistorical times when people would do nothing but sit and stare at each other all day. Got very boring. Well then. Oh yeah, let me know how audio is, by the way. This game supports an autosave feature. Please do not turn off your PC while the icon is displayed at the top of the screen. Okay, music should be coming through. Nullis, hi, you don't know why that line was in your head this morning, but it was also hi. Hi indeed. Okay, looks like we're working. I guess I could be a bit smaller. There we go. Okay, I'm liking this music. Audio good, game might be a bit low. Okay, I'll turn it up just a smidge then. Cam sauce was good in your opinion, but you don't know what the game UI is like. Doubtless I'll be covering something up. Okay, select adventure. New game. Here we are in feudal Japan.
The Empire of Japan. After opening its doors, a push for cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation. The revolution washed over the land, making life in the capital exciting and unsettling. It was a period of great change, and some was swept away by the tide.
Well, there's our murder.
But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
Oh hey, it's the guy from the box art. Notice an Ace Attorney game with animated cutscenes. Also the game's still low. Okay. Weird, Tactical Breach was fine. Okay, I've turned it up a bit. Oh, okay, that's more familiar. To be fair, the very first Ace Attorney did have animated cutscenes. They just didn't have as much animation, you know. They were more like PowerPoint presentation style animations. 22nd of November, 8:43 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber 5. Hey Nick. How's it going? Today was of course your, I think your last day of streaming No Man's Sky. Something, I'll be free, you can't take the sky from me. Pretty good, just ate dinner and chilling. Heck yeah. I had quite a nice halloumi salad for lunch myself. Okay, this is our protagonist. I'll probably use the same voice I did for my Phoenix Wright playthrough, which was years ago now. I can't believe it. I can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the doors to this quiet little chamber is the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my highlighted fate? Yep, I've got one of these meal kit services. Can't remember what it's called, but basically, yeah, it's sort of just sends you like 3 different sort of spices and sauces to cook with instead of the entire thing, and lets you just get the actual protein and veg yourself. Which, well, so far it's sort of works out cheaper. Not spice box. Oh, what's it called? I can literally see the box from here, but I can't quite read the text on it. Nullis, Firefly could have aged a lot better, but that damn theme song. Mainly having random Chinese words in the dialogue and zeroed Chinese characters. Yeah, I mean, some characters were white, but were sort of implied to have Chinese ancestry, which I don't know if that's actually better or worse. Obviously, it was doing the whole cyberpunk thing, where China contributed significantly to space travel. So, yeah, I guess they basically made the same problem there. Plus, of course, the characters were basically space Confederates, which wasn't really sort of addressed within the show itself. Like, I very nearly made a Firefly. Oh yeah, and Joss Whedon's a complete piece of... Yeah. I mean, I have a bad habit of just enjoying all the things made by the worst people. Because when I was a kid, I loved the Wizard books. Huge fan of the works of Neil Gaiman. And of course, I loved Buffy and Firefly back in the day. I suppose to his credit, I guess he had Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog as basically like a confessional. But yeah. Nick, to be fair, they're all extremely popular things. I'm not alone in that demographic by a long shot. Yeah, that's true. I suppose it's just some people just get famous and turn out to be jerks. Notice, is this our new Gumshoe? No, he seems to be wearing the same uniform. Well, he doesn't even have eyes, so I'm guessing he's just like a random bailiff. Still. What? Oh, no. Nothing. Save your glares, murderer. Okay, he's got Gumshoe energy. Sorry. Ryan Nosuke? My name is Ryan Nosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yumai University. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. And now, here I am, awaiting my trial. No less, the U is basically an apostrophe. Alright, yeah, like Retsuko. That's enough. Okay. That's enough. He's not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. And who are you? Yeah, that's it. Tell off the cop. I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. I guess this is the new MFA? Lawyer? Yes, and until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you will hold your tongue, or I will stab you, apparently. Huh. Technicalities. Look at you. You haven't even graduated yet. And yet, I still know better than you how a court officer should behave. Right. Rhinosuke? Oh yes, of course. Sorry. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, yeah. No, I suppose that wasn't my fault. I always do love a protagonist who, nervously apologizes for everything. Can't imagine why. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry. There you go again, apologizing. Okay, this guy's gonna end up killed, and it's gonna be very sad. Just like always. Nick, Kiryu? Chan? I must say, you've been all over the newspapers this past few days. Yumai University professor murdered in cold blood by students. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not. You have to believe me. I didn't do it. It was the gremlin on the wing. I could never murder someone. Then there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up, hold your head up high. You mean? I believe you. I know you're innocent. Ronus, okay? Kazuma Asogi, my best friend, also in his second year at my university. Nick, can someone please close a window or something? The breeze in here is incredible. Yeah, he's got like a cape of bluing for his headband. But he's far more clever than I. A star student, in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive considering he's still an undergraduate. It's not that impressive. How are you reading my exposition? Wait, did you just read his mind? Or was the protagonist actually expositing out loud? Notice, you think that you more or less functions as a you. The first you, sorry, because it's Ryu, but the last is more like Nosuke, trying to convey English noises as best as possible while not being sure how the differences might be between the US and British. Oh yeah, because I think it's more like Kazma, isn't it? My qualifications don't mean much yet. You said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. 3 days ago. Yes, that's when all this started. Flashback. Congratulations, Kazuma. It looks like you're going to get to study abroad at last. I know. I've been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, there's government elites have acknowledged my academic achievement and successes in court. So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world? He's not talking about Britain, is he? Notice, for instance, Sasuke has basically 2 syllables. Sasuke. With Kazuma, you're less sure. Kazuma. Kazuma. I'm very bad at pronouncing names. I can barely manage English as it is. I'm really happy for you, and proud as your friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. As in he owns a literal temple, or as in the side of his head. Actually, that would explain the headband. I want to bring about change in our own legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean, to see the real thing with my own eyes. In the heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Prepare to be disappointed. Then come with me. Set you free. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. If only it were that simple. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. It was straight after that. That's when it happened. Asugai, may I have a word? He's speaking. Professor, I didn't know you were coming. Well, this case has a personal significance to me. But never mind that for now. Asugai, you should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To here's excellent. To His Excellency's chambers? Why? He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result. Who's this man? I feel as though I've seen him at university before. I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. Alright then. Right, Inosuke. I'll see you in the courtroom. Nellis, for some reason your instinct with Kazuma is just to... You think pretending it's a short you and pretending the stress on the first syllable about it, so... Kazuma? 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 Yeah, Kazuma sounds about right. Or Kazuma. Yeah, thanks Kazuma. Thanks Kazuma. I'm sure I'll get the hang of it eventually. This is awkward. Isn't a long U the oo sound? Oh yeah, short U's the sound, isn't it? Kazuma. Okay, Kazuma does sound right. If I may. Yeah, sorry. You must be the defendant. Ryonosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yeah, yes, that's right. With Asugi, you're completely in the dark, except the eye is probably an E. My name is Eugene Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at the Yuma University. This man has the energy of a Pro ZD character. Oh, Professor Mikotoba. I've heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad. Sogi's told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. Ellipses nuts. As such, I feel you should know. Know what? Well, as you no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that permission will be revoked and never granted again. Because reasons. What? As I suspected, you're unaware of this. I had a feeling Asogi may have chosen not to tell you. Ellipses nuts. He's agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered. But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing? You have to... I mean, yeah, it doesn't really make that much sense. The administration is to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favourable of circumstances. I don't believe it. But I didn't do it. I swear it. I'm not a murderer. I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving your innocence will be no easy task. You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial. As in, the judge has been bribed heavily. Sorry, what do you mean? You'll soon understand once proceedings get underway. But then what should I do? Well, just be more innocent. Well, naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. Right, so... As soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens,
You must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do.
I do. But what will the question be? Surely not. Do you accept the accusations brought before you?
Of course not. Defendant. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once.
Amazing, an Ace Attorney game where background NPCs actually have moving mouth flaps.
It would seem our serendipitous discussions are to be cut short. So allow me to summarize. Kasuma Osaki must not meet the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as the defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving. There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway.
Can you believe this bailiff's such a cob? This is it. If this trial goes badly, Kasuma's dreams of studying abroad are over, and what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence. The trial that would decide my destiny.
"22nd of November, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Justice, Cashier, Courtroom 2.
So, this is a courtroom. You're literally a law student. You know what a courtroom looks like. The Supreme Court of Justicar. No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms there. Notice you took the liberty of finding and favouriting a walkthrough earlier. I had several choices, actually. Excellent. I mean, I'll try and solve puzzles first. I'm sure it will be a bit more intuitive than the original. The powers that be have demanded this be a secret trial. A secret trial. Metal Gear. A trial that's closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? Yep, tease no less. It'll become clear in time, but for now, you need to concentrate. Right, Yunosuke. It's about to begin. Gavel slam. Wait, is that like the ancestor of Winston Payne?
The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruto. The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency.
As is the defense. I forgot how hard it is to switch between all these voices.
Before we begin, there is one point of order I'd like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate.
That's correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself.
Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I am obliged to ask for final confirmation now. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial?
This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question Professor meant. But then, if I say I do, I have a fall for a lawyer. And I'm the protagonist of an Ace Attorney game. I'm already earmarked as a fool. Nellis, pretend new idea. Pretend the second you isn't there. Ryu, Street Fighter guy, Nosuke, Ryu Nosuke. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a lot easier actually. Problem is with names, I try to read them every time instead of just remembering the sound, which I assume people who can actually remember names do. Ryu Nosuke? I need to answer quickly. What should I do? Answer I do.
Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear you will advocate for his defense.
Me, I know the answer to this question.
What's the meaning of this unruly outburst?
I would like to inform the court that I, Ryu Nosuke Naruto, will be defending myself.
You'll be what?
Oh yeah, he's supposed to be like Phoenix Wright's ancestor, so this actually tracks.
What are you playing at?
Ryu Nosuke. Professor Mikotaba told me everything just now before the trial.
He did what?
He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose. How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off? Phrasing. No, it's not that really. It's just that... Well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I can best be the reason... Well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I can best be the reason that you... Yes, I knew that's how you'd feel, which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikotaba shouldn't have stuck his nose in.
Very well. The court hereby recognises the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial.
Well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel? Really?
Objection!
Notice if it helps, his surname is way earlier. Not gonna lie, going off one YouTuber's pronunciation, we expect you to have it right. I'll never guess how to pronounce the opponent's name. Oh. Kazuma. Objection. Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly, what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. I realise you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered.
Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court, you must have perpetrated a most heinous crime indeed. As you're no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo?
Yes, Your Excellency. Notice, my guess is his ancestor was spot on, by the way. You remember reading about this somewhere? Oh yeah, I heard that much about the game.
It's therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken.
My competence? What does that mean? Is this some kind of tutorial level? He's questioning your ability to do the job. Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am.
So, let's start with the very simplest of questions.
Oh, yes.
Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I care to remember. But, wait. I'm so nervous. I can't even remember that. What was it again? Oh, right. My guess about the bald guy. Oh, fair enough then. But, like, just look at this, look at, Rhino's K's hair. It's like, it's what Phoenix Wright's hair would look like before the invention of hair gel. Rhino's K. Let me guess, your mind's gone blank. You know me so well. They literally share a brain cell. All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record. But I can't even find that. It's simple. You can access the court record with a press of RB. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. I just have to press RB for the court record. Alright, there's no time to lose. This is the list of evidence you've collected. Now try switching to people instead with RB. You'll find details about the victim in here. When you're done, just press B to go back. So remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record. Okay. Now you'd best not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Find the victim in the people section of the court record, then press Y to present. Try it now. Okay, let's see. Kazuma Asogi, 23. Second year at the Imperial Yamai University. He is my best friend, and despite being a student, a qualified defense lawyer as well. Eugene Mikotoba, 42. A medical school professor at the Imperial Yumi University. He's an authority in forensic medicine, and Kazuma's mentor. Taketsuchi Ochi, the lead prosecutor of this case, who would appear to have little love for the changes the culture of Reformation has brought about. John H. Wilson, 47, the victim of this case. He was a visiting professor of medicine at Yumai University from the British Empire.
Yes!
The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university.
I have no idea why I've given this guy the skeletal voice. It just kind of fits.
Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England, invited to Yumai University 3 years ago.
Icky, gonna lurk while you haircut, but hi. Okay, good luck with the haircut, Icky.
Indeed, which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire
Yeah, that tracks.
is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. And as most of you will be aware, we've just signed a new treaty together, after lengthy negotiations.
There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. Was that an actual thing?
And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yumai University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor?
But I didn't do it. Me, trying to deflect the allegations.
This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter.
In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. They're as scared of you as they are of them. Wait. They're as scared of you as you are of them. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities, is it? No, let's remember whose ancestor the bald guy is. You might remember who the ancestor of the bald guy is of. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. He had it coming. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Notice they went and named the man Ouchie. Oh. Oh my fucking god. Well, glad to know the punny names are still there. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. So is Kazuma going to be the villain? Did he frame us for murder? Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. The British Empire. Wow, it's incredible to think. Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still, I should go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. Classic nervous anime pose.
Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Defendant Naruto.
Yes, Your Excellency. I'm doing a lot of voices at the back of my throat. It's gonna kill it.
How did this Professor of Medicine, John H. Wilson, lose his life? State before the cause of death.
The cause of death? Well, obviously that was, Ryanosuke. Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence? But how? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and press present. Do it now. University collar pin. Proof that I'm a student at the Imperial Yuma University. I always wear it on the collar of my uniform jacket. Post-mortem report. Occurred a little after 2 PM and was caused by a loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Present.
Yes!
Well... according to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma.
Learn to read, you imbecile! That's the post-mortem report, I take it.
Sorry, yes, that's right. The post-mortem report. In the West, a doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later.
This is the so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime.
For a second there, I thought he had a bag over his head, but I guess that's just the top of it.
You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. In other words, we should assume the victim was shot at close range. Thank you, Counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. Behold how we consider it so modern because we're very old-fashioned and this is in the past.
The photographic print of the victim has been entered into the court record. Photographic victim. A photographic print shows the victim. He was shot in the front, in the chest, and subsequently died. So that's a photographic print. Well, that's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail's incredible.
Very well, I'm satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial. Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened.
Now, listen, for some reason you think people pronounce the U in Naruhodo like just literally how it looks. Okay. I'm just going to accept I need a pronunciation guide here.
This is it then.
The apocalypse?
I think I might have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikotaba? Yes, clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me, but that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant.
Of course. When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kasuma Asogai must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. You think Naruhodo is like a regular Japanese word / phrase, actually? Okay, so is this like a Mr. Normal sort of situation then? He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first. Zing. How is he doing that? Does he have a wind machine just off camera? Does he have wires in it? I swear to God, if this waiter is called Sebastian.
Witness? State your name and occupation for the court, please.
Okay. Hosonaga. Notice, but yeah, having lots of subbed anime helps, but only helps so much. As a YouTuber you watch also happens to be a huge Ace Attorney fan. Fair enough then. Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I'm the head waiter at a Western-style restaurant called La Carnival. If it's Western... Okay, it's French, not Western. Specifically. You alright? You seem to be coughing up some, Damn. Oh, this is Movie Land, so that's probably not that serious. It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really, really should.
As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests.
Ah, the conspiracy's getting its hooks in.
This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery, 3 days ago. Understood? Hosonaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. No petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please.
Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring?
It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have few diners at that time of day. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory a bit too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. I mean, I don't really need to voice the cough, it's right there. It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student.
Yes!
Hold on, let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him.
Objection!
I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw, you amateur.
But...
The next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalised. Defendant Neruodo. Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness. If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today.
Oh, welcome back, Nihilus. Computer froze, waiting through pre-rolls. That sucks. Feels like everyone's having computer trouble lately.
Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim?
That towel must have so much blood on it right now. No. There was no one else around that table but the deceased Englishman and the university student.
Huh? Wait, what did you just say?
There was no one else around that table. What's the matter, Ryunosuke?
That's just not right.
When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello... Dun dun dun! There was a woman sitting opposite him at his table.
Really?
And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Interject? I just met her.
Yes!
Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Objection!
Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it just be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all?
But I'm sure of what I saw. Hosonaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of event is hazy. Notice your computer should have been out of pasture for a while now. Apparently Windows 10 is going to stop being supported in October. Oh yeah. Microsoft ending updates for it and stuff. Oh no, he's got anime glasses. He's evil. No, he did it. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. Okay, he's taking the fall. He doesn't mind perjuring himself because he's dying anyway. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please, have a look if you'd like to.
Let me see. Oh, a sketch of the establishment's layout. Drawn by yourself, I presume.
That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. Ah, yeah, that's what I do when I'm stressed. I flip around my business card and, why's the waiter got a business card? Notice? Dang. Geonosis has fallen on hard times. The Evangelion guy. Which one? Shinji? Or the, guy? The glasses guy? Oh, right, wow, I can't remember. Shinji's dad. Gendo, that was it. Thank you, Press Ricard. How you doing, by the way? However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone.
Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter.
Thank you, sir. Hanging in there? That's good.
The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence.
Oh, well.
Is there a problem? Hand over the plan to the court officer at once.
Of course.
Here you are.
What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. The waiter's business card has been entered into the court record. Waiter's business card. The head waiter's business card. A sketch of the restaurant's layout is on the back. Yep, that is a verified animation to have.
So, the court has now heard a process of the case. Yes, at the moment, a gunshot was heard in the restaurant. The only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today.
No less animation loop, whatever.
It would seem we're looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo?
Yes, Your Excellency.
If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in the terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime.
What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty in one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Gee, what kind of country would force people to do that, even when they're innocent? No less. Defendant Naruhoot. Like the Pokemon. Everyone keeps telling me this trial is unusual. About these peculiarities. You said it. Professor Mikokaba said it. And so is the judge and prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face? Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet. Ryunosuke. Notice, Hoot Hoot might be a good Pokesona for Ryunosuke, actually. Do people have Pokesonas? The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see how decisive this evidence really is. Rebel, rebel, it's been a while.
Indeed. Prosecutor Ouchie, please continue with proceedings. Shh. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. I could be your angel or your devil. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever, because I'm going to shoot you. The prosecution calls its next witnesses. Very well, officer. Bring it forth the next witnesses at once. Sorry, the next witness. Only one witness. Okay, witnesses was right. That's what I get for trying to create myself. Icky, he can be my Rouge Ankle of Satan. Sorry, Rouge Ankle of Satin. Exactly. How'd the haircut go? Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. The Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant. Yes, sir. No, sir. Reporting for duty, sir. Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premises in the 2nd District. Kayurio Karatukuta, at your service. An antique dealer and a soldier? What an unusual pairing. What next? A tinker tailor and a spy?
Icky, haircut's still going, but well, excellent. You get that haircut, you get your hair trimmed in according to your preferences.
Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question.
They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned.
Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon. And not infrequently, converse with interested parties regarding curios with which I make my business. I love my sesquipedalian loquaciousness.
Nihilus, a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker. Yes. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at Le Carnival. Wait. Carnival? Wait, yeah, right the first time. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets Le Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer.
Now you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was that black uniform rogue infantryman over there who are noted as firearms, sir.
Yes, we get it, you're a military guy. This man's as impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So, this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start.
Now the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You'll state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah. Did a baby cry when he saluted?
Sir, yes, sir. Standing by to report, sir. Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon.
What the witnesses saw.
I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man.
Notice you think he just made a high-pitched war cry? Maybe?
I myself was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity-clad cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel.
Okay, that's going to be easy to disprove.
I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of a mysteriously absconded precious curio. Well, so you, Sergeant Noser, actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second where the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy.
But did you draw a knife?
What times we live in, when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day.
But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then, when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant. When I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. How do you know where it's made? Does he know that much about guns? I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it. So I bent down, and just as I was picking it up... Bang. Well, if that's the truth, then there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. And there is. Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses. Cross-examine. Do it now.
As we heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these two witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It's time to bring this despicable student to justice. Certainly, the testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestiges of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdicts of this trial.
Yes, I'm guilty.
What, in the name of the Emperor, is the meaning of this outburst?
I mean, the defense demands its right to cross-examination.
Dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic.
How do you know?
The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Kazuma's so commanding. It's kind of hard.
Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses.
Right, this is where the battle really begins. Rhinosuke. Wait, wrong voice. Alright, this is where the battle really begins. Rhinosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witness's statements. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means that what the soldier said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it. And the key to doing that is evidence. Right, evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Rhinosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then. It's all or nothing. Okay, so the soldier said the victim was shot from the back, but we already know he was shot from the front, so this one should be easy. Okay, present. He was shot in the chest, and from the photograph you can see he was shot from the front. Okay, the photograph specifically said he was shot in the front, so that's the keyword I need. Take this. Okay. Oh yeah, it's why to present, isn't it?
Yes!
Fire.
What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this insubordination? Thrusting some photographic prints in my moustache.
Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here.
What nonsense! What can this print possibly tell us that we don't already know?
Well, obviously that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth.
I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom.
This is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Kazuma, what?
What are you talking about?
It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defence that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement.
What?
Sergeant Iesenoza.
Yes, sir. What, sir?
The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel.
Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes!
But no, that just can't be.
And why not, cadet?
Because... Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest.
Ah?
Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but you pushed it down again. Is he a robot?
Certainly, there's a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant? No, sir?
Notice he's a mech suit. That was the pilot. Turns out this was a Men in Black prequel all along.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. At this juncture, it would appear to be indisputable.
Until the moment It's a child. This explains... This is like a lone wolf and cub situation.
Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were
firmly fixed on the delicious Le Carnival steak, sir. Yep, damn it, Iris, indeed.
What?
The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant No, yes sir, no sir, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all.
That's absurd. People not seeing things?
I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. I'll burn. Achievement unlocked. Inconsistencies here. There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. Title drop. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back.
Yes!
I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor.
And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either? Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor.
Mood. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing?
Hunting for treasure.
Treasure?
Indeed. The Hoiera Koban, my prized coin. On each occasion where I visit that restaurant, it is my habitude to place it in my bosom pocket, a particular trinket of interest from my shop, Rasutai.
In the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you.
On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I preferred my Hawaii treasure. Believed that he would purchase such a rare find, I did not. But I was presented with little alternative.
You know, am I the only one who thinks this guy looks like someone just took his face in Photoshop and just bloop?
And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished. The Koban vanished. Hunting around on the table, I was, in case mayhap it may have fallen there, and then it happened.
You heard the gunshot, you mean?
I did indeed, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded Hawaii treasure. Nothing could distract me.
Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end?
No.
Notice there's a character in Ghost Trick he's reminding you of, but the one in Ghost Trick is downright uncomfortable to look at. Yeah, I'm thinking of a similar character from the third Ace Attorney game. That creepy old man. He just keeps appearing again. I see.
That lamentable day, the precious Hawaii carbon was lost to me.
No, listen, what's with that nose? At least in his case, he's just supposed to look like a tengu.
No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. As I'm sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon.
Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British. It would be unfavourable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now.
What is your position, Prosecutor Olchy? Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but you'll find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make. Explain? Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. Gordon Freeman. The equally despicable defendant, Brioche Naruhodo.
What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he?
Very well. The court invites the witness to testify again. You'll thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency.
Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think.
Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up for the ranks, sir. Name? Ado.
It would seem those straps are the sign of the sergeant being too strapped for Ford and Nanny.
Ado, attention. Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy.
Witness testimony. The true culprit.
Even what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm discharged, it was almost the same thing. Yes, the pointing his gun at the foreign man he was. That young lad in the black. That much I myself did see. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed. Alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out.
Yes!
These testimonies are certainly compelling.
Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all.
Please, enough of these outbursts already.
But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her.
Objection!
If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of this court and speak accordingly. We're not here to listen to your fantasies. It is evidence beyond all reasonable doubt the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact. Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime, Katzel? Indeed. Of the table which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident, as can plainly be seen, there is only one place set. Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude the victim was not in the company of anyone else.
This doesn't make any sense.
The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record.
The photographic print of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Crime scene photograph. A bottle of carbonated water and a steak lunch can be seen on the victim's table. Totally not wine.
I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that no one else saw that woman.
The waiter before said the same thing. He maintained that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well.
But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we've just heard leave no further room for doubt. These are very sensitive political times. As we know, the ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Takashuchi Aochi, will have contributed to the immunity of these two great empires is an honour.
How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule. Stand tall, Ryanosuke. It's not over yet.
What?
If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth, in your cross-examination.
I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to a cross-examination. Sorry. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick. Understood? Rules can be unbending at times.
Okay, let's cross-examine away. Okay, elbows press.
Yes!
No, it's not the same thing at all. For a start, I didn't fire that gun. We have a different opinion on that. The opinion of a uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so. Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked. Did you? Did you see it? Did you see me blink? How could I? And yet, it's an undeniable fact that I did blink.
I mean, we've only got your word for that.
So there you have it.
Have what?
Tension?
The sound of a firearm rang in my ears at the very next moment. I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman.
I think that says it all, don't you? And let's not forget, the antiques dealer has witnessed the accused in the most incriminating position as well. Isn't that so,
Kurokuta-san? And press.
Yes!
Yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at that point in time. But I've told you already, that's only because I picked it up off the floor.
Well, obviously, as the culprit, that's the only way you could explain it away.
I just finished drinking my coffee, and I was about to leave the restaurant when I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. And at exactly that moment... Oh, I guess he was going to try and defend himself, and then someone shot him. A gunshot rang in my ears.
Full of events beyond our control, life is.
Sorry, what do you mean?
In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated this testing predicament. Whereas conversely, I failed to pick up the Koban from the floor, and find myself in an equally testing predicament as a result. Oh, chat disconnected for a moment there. Anyway, the fact remains myself, I did see you. With the pistol in hand, standing over the foreigner.
Yes!
You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there.
Objection!
As you've been at pains to point out time and time again, I feel I'm growing callous in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman. Nerless, equally testing? Sure, because apparently the old guy's life depends on finding the coin. I mean, his livelihood might depend on it. If only there'd been more people dining there at the time. Then someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 PM when it happened. A quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know. Of course, the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly, 2 PM is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone. Yes, Your Excellency, there is indeed a reason. There was. This was found in the victim's jacket pocket. And what's that, Counsel? It's a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. What a clinic? Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. 19th of November, noon to past 1 PM.
Typical doctor making you late for lunch. Now let's tell you that we're not seeing that guy's ancestor too. What, that one creepy doctor from the 3rd game? Or was it the 2nd? Oh no, wait, it was the 2nd. Because that was when Mia was framed. The very day of the incident.
Say the victim went out for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation can be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case. I wonder. What do you think, Ryan Saki? Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's medical report card to be submitted in evidence or not? Yes.
Yes!
If I may, I'd like to ask for the medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency.
On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection!
Whether or not they are of any concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore at all possible avenues.
I beg your pardon?
You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence.
Very well. The court will grant the defense's request. Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record.
The victim's medical record card has been entered into the court record. Medical report card. The medical report card from Hota Clinic that was found in the victim's... Wait, no. Because that doctor's surgery was called the Hota Clinic. Bloody hell. What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first.
Right, I hear you. You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you.
No, there's Dr. Hottie, yeah. Exactly.
Or perhaps you've forgotten that these witnesses' testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused. Furukasu-san?
Excellent work, right, Nosuke. We've gleaned some new information now.
Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light.
I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before.
Oh, you mean this?
Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence, so perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail.
How exactly?
You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine. Press A, and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. Use the right control stick. Oh, I can rotate. To rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using left stick, you can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshair starts to pulsate, press A to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learned by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Okay. Ding. It says Hotel Clinic on this medical report card. I hate clinics, almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? When I was 5, I caught the only cold I've ever had in my life. And I remember, even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. Ugh, I'll never forget it. Never in my whole life. Most people give their right arm to have had only one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything. Spin, spin, spin. Dentist, Hotel Clinic. Date, record number. It looks like this medical report card was first issued quite some time ago. It's probably a record of long-term treatment. That's why with a family doctor, I imagine. Well, I can't imagine going to a doctor. I mean, as long as I'm alive, I'm never consulting one. Well, if you were dead, there'd be no point. So you don't like doctors then? Why would you? They make you drink horrible tasting medicine, they give you painful injections, and then they demand lots of money for you for the privilege. Or when you're at your lowest ebb. You sound like a model patient. With a bad case of stubbornness, no less, for which the only cure is a very bitter medicine indeed. Healthy curiosity, achievement unlocked. Okay, so I got an achievement for studying the medical card. Notice he's an oh my god, yes, he's an anti-vaxxer. Okay, I can open it. What we got here then? Let's have a look. Is this some kind of medical history? Ah, and there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia.
Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. No less, he's got enough stamps for a free haircut. Yeah. Oh no, he needs 2 more for a free coffee. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. There's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure, until anesthetic effects have passed. Really? Oh, that's why there was only 1 meal at the table. He wasn't eating. Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. The medical report's card information has been updated. A record of dental work. On the day of the murder, the victim had undergone dental treatment and been prohibited from eating or drinking anything but water. With this new information, the meaning of that one particular statement totally changes. So, I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, don't you? Definitely. Okay, he wasn't dining. Actually, I wonder if we can turn the waiter's business card round. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosanage, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? Well, that's unexpected. What is it? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosanage. Well, yeah, business cards do tend to see a person's name. And that's sort of the point. That's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosanage, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. No, Mr. Waiter was in the FBI the entire time. Exactly. Oh, it looks like I've dropped a few frames. Still at 0.0%, but... Yep, Chief Inspector. Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. If they're wielding it somehow here. Waiter's business card. A sketch of the restaurant's layout is on the back. On the front, it stated that Hosanage-san is a police inspector. I guess that's why he was so reluctant to hand it over. Anyway. Dining he was not, for the mucker.
Yes!
Well, I think, About what are you whittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer? I wish I could. But first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Rub your nose, Kay. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Right, and thanks for the advice. Kurakusa-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement. Something clearly doesn't add up.
Objection!
Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You're not to interrupt the court proceedings with your amateurish drivel. But... let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that, time is completely irrelevant. But that's, Remember, Rhinos K, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There's surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard has been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced people who could ever... Here we go. This medical report card has nothing to do with the case. Do you really believe that? What? Thou outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How can it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hospital Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted. What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result, the victim had been forbidden from eating. Ding ding ding. Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while the anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't... Kirakuta-san. What by? What? As you just heard, when he was killed, sometime shortly after 2 p.m, the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. That cannot possibly be the case. Because there was also food at the table, so someone else must have been there. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of anesthetic. Expertly done, partner.
Objection!
Well, what is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the place of food at the victim's table.
Objection!
Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree? Bring your nose, Kay. Yes, most definitely. So, having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who in fact was eating the pictured beefsteak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of your turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Oh, a turnabout, if you will. No, Liz. Not really. Shoot the little bastard, see if I care. You don't even like Austin Powers, but some lines just stick with you. Yeah, it's a very quotable film, despite all the problems with it. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been... It couldn't be the victim himself, it couldn't be you, it couldn't be both the witnesses, so it must be someone else entirely. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
Objection!
You'll not let us go, will you? There was no such person. There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was someone else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. Casma. Are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, Council. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with them. Those two witnesses on the stand. But what? What are you talking about? We've demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you'll be charged with perjury. Finally, someone in Ace Attorney is threatened with perjury. This is big. This is huge. A witness is the one in trouble. Perjury. And since this is a murder trial, you'll also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit in murder? No! Will the baby also be complicit? No, negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman, that's what they, told us. Oh. Well. 3 holes in the ground. And 3 times better in Welsh. Well, to be fair, in Welsh it would be pronounced like well. Oh. What? What did you just say? Kurakata-san? Oh, no. You were just following orders? No, hold on, lad, I was, Say you never saw the gentlewoman. When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What?
Objection!
What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair? Just one? Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order! Council, explain what's going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this. And then who's behind this? Who tries to make you keep your mouth shut? Well, that's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Right, your nose, Kay. Judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ouchie had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. Well, golly gosh gee, I wonder who just gave you his frickin' business card.
It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? If we can confirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly? Remember how we made progress before? We examined the piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose.
I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe.
Please, wait, Your Excellency. I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing.
And what does defense have to say about all this?
Well, Your Excellency. No time to think. I'm just going to have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessarily influence to manipulate the witnesses is... Ding, ding, ding. It has to be this guy.
Yes!
Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san.
Hosonaga-san, the waiter who took the stand earlier?
Objection!
Poppycock! What possible reason could the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony?
Notice, speaking as American, it's always surprising to see a story with police corruption in it. Your police unions have a kind of ridiculous amount of sway with stuff made over there, mostly affecting Hollywood and TV shows. Yeah, like Law and Order and stuff are pure propaganda. I mean, there's stuff like The Shield, but generally, yeah, stuff like The Bill doesn't really... I mean, it's still sort of propaganda adjacent, but it doesn't really shy away from police corruption stories and the like. I mean, Law and Order and CSI do have corrupt cops, but they're usually presented as the exception.
Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have had that level of influence.
For once, I would agree with you. If that is, the man truly were a waiter.
What? If he truly were?
Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit the chord with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity as proven by this evidence. Ding.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant, sketched by the man in question? I agree, it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything.
Sorry, Your Excellency. That's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest.
I beg your pardon?
Or perhaps as I should have said, the front. Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Why is that so funny?
Would someone please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say?
Hosanaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. Notice, it's the card with 2 backs, Kappa. I don't get the reference. I mean, I know what the beast with 2 backs is, that goes back to Shakespeare, but... The front of the business card reveals the man in question's profession. His true profession.
The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious.
Oh, you're trying to do the, Which emoji is that? Oh, the Kappa emote. Fair enough. That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Yep, and he's so good at being a policeman, he literally handed over evidence while he was undercover.
What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before?
The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power, absolute power, as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentleman at the scene?
Well...
Oh, he's back. Inspector Hosanaga. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realised it was a possibility.
The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence.
Oh, well...
Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once.
Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. Also, why would a waiter have a business card? I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake.
So, you mean to say you're really a detective?
But why would a detective be working as a restaurant's waiter? Ah, of course. Your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes. There have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at a restaurant? What kind of incidents? Nellis, why does the piece of chili have a business card for that matter? They don't generally hire out before, and they have like badges. Maybe just to hand some. Actually, no. Police often have business cards for their contact details, like their especially high-ranking ones, because it's their private contact details. Plus, officials just like to feel official. That would be a classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. You know, after playing Tactical Breach Wizards, it's just grated on me how many people in this story are guys.
Very well then, Inspector Hosanaga, but you will elaborate on one point for the court.
Of course, Your Excellency.
We have just heard new information from the 2 witnesses beside you.
That at the time of the shooting,
There was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having sat at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner, therefore I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable. As I suspected. A cab. Bang. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. No, let's come to think of it, yes, this is obviously a sort of historical fiction, but still. Yeah, to be fair. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady, whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say? No, Liz. Of course, knowing Capcom, if there were a woman judge, for example, it would basically be old back again. I mean, I guess. To be fair, you could just, like in the original trilogy, you could swap out the judge for an elderly woman, and it would probably be about the same. Remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views on the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishwoman has been murdered on our soil. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect? Well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the real reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. Also, you tried to frame me for murder. That's rude. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? My university is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying the medical facilities research laboratory, is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean? When I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then the court demands you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. What a name. She's indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of my university's medical faculty. What is happening here?
Good question. I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I raised all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with the situation. No less. Brioche, you don't know. I guess.
Very well, my thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered, this premise is false.
Wait. Are they actually gonna let me off without having to find the original culprit? Is that actually gonna happen?
It would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
Objection!
But, Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of the ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the governments of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Inspector Hosonaga?
Yes, sir.
You'll locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency.
At once, Your Excellency.
But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau.
As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So it won't be a problem. Nothing will get in my way. As long as he doesn't die of TB before then.
Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student, Giselle Brett, to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Your Excellency. Good. Then we'll have a 30-minute recess before reconvening.
To be continued. Okay, we're at the 2-hour mark, so we'll keep going. Save my current process? Sure. The Adventure of the Great Departure. Trial, Part 2.
"22nd of November, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court of Justicature, Defendant's Antechamber 5.
Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I'm looking at you in there. You're drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight. Before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it, it's terrifying. If I ever get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Willis wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentleman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Do you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor, and just after I bent down and picked it up. I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what's happening outside in the dining area.
There you are. Well done, both of you.
Professor Mikotaba.
Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You exceeded my expectations, I have to say.
Okay, so he's a good authority figure. Also, am I the only one who thinks he looks kind of like the dad in Invincible? Like the evil Superman guy. Kind of wild how Amazon keeps commissioning stories where where Superman's the villain. It's almost as if their boss looks like Lex Luthor.
Yes, it seems you planned this from...
Yes, it seems you planned this from the start.
You
arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial.
Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. It would ruin the premise of the game, you know.
Well, it makes no difference. Law or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What's he saying, Kazuma?
So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma.
Wait, Kazuma?
Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man.
To me?
Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case.
Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim?
Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. J.H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMI, and it was I who invited him.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that before.
Anyway, you're about to go into battle. And I need only your strongest potions.
Sorry.
The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible.
But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide.
Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've got no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Now then, I need to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need.
Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama.
Defendants Naruhodo. Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once.
It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow. Before these old fossils know what's hit them. And then lashings of ginger beer for all. Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really? What for? Well, if you hadn't said you'd believed in me, then I'm fairly sure I'd have already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you.
As a lawyer, as a friend, coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then, I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yamai Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. The 2nd of November, 12:09 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom 2. Notice, before I was only worried about getting shot or whatever, but now the stakes are real. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruto. Prosecutor Aochi, have you managed to subpoena the witness? Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under painful scrutiny from the government. Sorry. Let the government scrutinise. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely that good relations with forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down on our nation founders? Again, terribly sorry. Oh, who hasn't caused one international incident as a student? It just happened. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about. Ryunosuke. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or England? Shut up, shut up! You jumped up, rookie boy. You and your friend don't know nothing. Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. Ah, fuck off, Shapiro. I won't deny that I'm no expert, I'm just a student. One who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror. You little brats! Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett. Yes. Your Excellency. That is certainly a hat. Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land. Tea? Someone bring English tea? In England, no discussion takes place without tea. Okay, that's a ridiculous stereotype.
Yep, all rise for the BisectedBrioche stream national anthem. Is that true? No idea.
So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I've been working undercover as the head waiter of Le Carnival.
Yes, we know about you already. Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first.
Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today, you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the only thing you're sure of. Oh yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty.
So dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you with your name and occupation, please.
Why the... is a hat a swan? Unless you try to write a clip, your browser ain't having it. Oh. I appreciate the effort though. Are you using Firefox? Because I don't tend to have any trouble doing clips in Firefox. I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what? Okay, this is how they're rendering English. Impossible to read cursive. The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in UMI University's medical faculty.
Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people.
Yeah, too right, mate, innit? I'm afraid I don't understand a single word you said, but it was as peaceful as a hummingbird's song. Yeah, whatever, bruv. As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rasp you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes. Ryunosuke.
The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called Le Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct?
I mean, I know they have discount Sherlock Holmes, so... Is this like... Is that supposed to be like a reference to Dr. Watson? Tea and crumpets, crumpets and tea. Tea and crumpets, crumpets and tea. Tea and crumpets, crumpets and tea. Tea and crumpets, crumpets and tea, tea, crumpets. With milk. She says yes. This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese. She's British, alright. Crumpets, crumpets and tea, tea, crumpets, 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 tea and crumpets. Scones, cream scones, tea and crumpets.
She'd like to apologise for her disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately.
Notice it's What's-Her-Face all over again. Also, yeah, wasn't sure if I knew about Watson. Judging by one of the walkthroughs, the Japanese release doesn't bother changing their names at all. Fair enough. Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape.
I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print?
Seems you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime. Could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Scones, tea and crumpets, crumpets and tea and crumpets, crumpets and scones. With jam.
Apparently it was very frightening. A very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say?
Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused standing right there in this courtroom... when the accused standing right there in this courtroom shot the victim in cold blood. Why is this lady cosplaying a swan? Is it because shooting has treason? Oh, it's, Delia Hawthorne. Yeah.
Order! Order in the court!
Haven't said that in a while.
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement.
To be fair, it might just be the detective, Oh wait, no, because they, both speak enough English to know he's not mistranslating. Well, it looks clear now. It looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Something Giselle? Isn't there a play about a swan with a character named Giselle? Swan Lake, you mean? Oh yeah, you're right. I think that's like the villain of Swan Lake. Or at least that's what I remember from Black Swan. And that one Overwatch skin.
Unfortunately, I'll have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described.
Crumpets and tea, tea and crumpets, crumpets and tea. A frightening and sorrowful sight. Crumpets and tea, tea and crumpets, crumpets and tea. Notice Giselle Britt, the evil swan. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Willison that late day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. Tea and crumpets, crumpets and tea, tea and crumpets. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. Tea and crumpets, crumpets and tea, tea and crumpets, crumpets, crumpets. I don't carry a gun myself, so it obviously couldn't have been the culprit.
Yes!
Notice, here you're wondering if they were hiding the name Braille in there to suggest she was blind, but that'd be way too subtle. I mean, she's got her eyes covered, maybe she is blind. No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection!
Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard. Look at this Snow White angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine that whose words the court is going to believe. You're still making the same mistakes, Ryanosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the 2 witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last 2 witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so. On the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there was nowhere about her person where she could conceal a fire. You for real? Thank you. I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden the weapon can be shown, this is moot. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. That's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryanosuke. But I didn't fire that gun. I picked up. There must have been another gun in there that day. I mean, couldn't they prove the gun he was holding wasn't fired? You're right about that, which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we'll need to pull her testimony apart. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. Here it goes, then.
Yes!
After 2 PM, in fact. That's a really late lunch, isn't it?
Objection!
You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are in vogue. Isn't that right? Crumpets. Oh wait, you can clearly see. No. A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why I was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense. Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? Okay. And press.
Yes!
He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at the Hotter Clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of the fact? It seems so, yes. She'd heard the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left? Dear me, it was a harrowing experience. To have travelled to a distant island on the far side of the world and to be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I'll crush the evil fiend who has subjected you to this terrible plight. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all. That's right, other than some carbonated water. Just water?
Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners had toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. Okay, I guess it wasn't. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. What do you think, Ryanosuke, about the witness's last statement? It's very meaningful. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case. Well, well, how fascinating. Do tell us what is this profound bearing, He was facing stake side. Oh, there's only one glass of water. See in a bit, no less. The significance of that statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
Well sidestepped, counsel. Very well. Miss Brett, kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony.
Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryanosuke. Okay. Just create a backup save so I can save scum. And there is only one glass of water.
Yes!
That's it. Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct. That is correct, the lady says. Well, that is, it's odd. Very odd.
Dear me, what's odd about the defense's inability to what's odd is the defense's inability to express itself.
Ryanosuke, what is it about the print that looks so odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers. The cheers? Nolus, look at this print. Every time I do, it makes me squint. It doesn't have the same rhyme to it, you know? Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1.
Oh. You're quite right, counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Objection!
And we're supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutiae?
What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
Minutiae, you say?
Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try and tell me you can clink with only one? Yeah, I remember my grandpa used to hate people clinking glasses. Always said you were just supposed to hold them up. You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table.
Crumpets, crumpets and tea. Tea and crumpets.
Inspector, what did the lady say?
It would seem it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table.
What?
It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try and hide the fact I'd been here at all. She's saying.
Good gracious.
Sorry.
There, as I assured the court before, it is of no consequence at all.
Oh, please.
We must remember this is a student that had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. You could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray.
That's absurd.
Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable young and beautiful woman of mischief?
Yep, just mischief, shenanigans of the highest order. That's all he wants to accuse her of.
What? No. This can't be put down to mischief.
I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. Crumpets and tea, tea and crumpets. It would seem she slipped it into the small handbag she was carrying.
A handbag, you say?
Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England. Oh gee, I wonder what else she could put in there. Because I know what I certainly don't have in mine.
So, the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end it comes to nothing.
Okay, officer.
No more pretentious accusations. You've wasted enough time already. Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation of why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we consider the matter of no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defence, are you in agreement?
Well, I don't know really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance.
Yes, you're right.
So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's deeper significance there, it's the handbag. She has a freaking handbag where she could keep a gun. Wait, the lady put her glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes? Do you try to keep up? It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, which would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun in.
You're right.
Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too.
What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard?
Well, he ain't your pal, let in. It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't seriously be suggesting?
Inspector Holzanaga? Yes?
Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder?
No, sir, I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag.
Oh. No! Order! 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 What's the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Prosecutor? Ouchie.
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag to show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Don't you think... Do you think so, Kazuma? Seriously, this guy needs to go to a hospital. Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. Damn right we don't. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting. Simply because... it was unnecessary.
Unnecessary in what way?
I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I'd completely forgotten about. This photographic print. This print was a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. What's that going on with that bull tattoo? Or brand?
Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside.
That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the heart of fashion in London at the moment.
So the contents are clearly visible.
Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that. Hodo-san.
Order! Order! Inspector Hosanaga, you'll submit that print as evidence at once.
Certainly, Your Excellency. The photograph of the handbag has been entered into the court record. Photograph of the handbag. A photograph taken by Hosanaga-san after the incident occurred. It shows Miss Brett's handbag on a chair by the victim's table.
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel.
Notice, her mask has expressive eye holes. You can't dislike her anymore. You're not valid. Let's just analyse the photograph for a bit then. Okay, I guess we're not allowed to do that. Seriously though, what's going on with the bull mark? Wait, what's going on with the layout there?
The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Indeed, and there's only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. It's amazing how technology can show us a Phoenix Wright attorney sweating in HD now. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Oh no, Kazuma's upset as well. They're doomed. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryanosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? The apocalypse?
I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. But the weak meet while the strong eat. You're wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice.
No, Liz, also, yeah, whose hand is that? If it were the dead professor's hand, that wouldn't really add up.
In fact, you can chew onto your heart's content from the inside of your cell. Sorry, a fact you can chew onto your heart's content from the inside of your cell.
My reading comprehension has been terrible today. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma. What? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue.
Very well, I'll now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems we'll be able to report to the British government on time after all.
That smug little...
Ryanosuke Naruto?
Yes!
Here we go. Wait, Your Excellency. Ryanosuke? I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
This administrationist is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that this trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now that means that if there is a problem with the evidence... Has he already had that glove? I don't think we've seen his left hand before. Some significant detail, I mean. Then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Attention!
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print.
All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence. You better know what you're doing. Ryanosuke.
I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court scrutiny. However, I can fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag. I thought exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Wheeze? Yes, I'm desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I can put my finger on it. Very well, I will grant the defendant one final opportunity.
What?
Wait, what? But be warned, if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect.
Did that hammer just get bigger?
Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
So, take another look at this photographic print Inspector Sukanasa submitted before. You will identify for the court, where in this print we see a significant detail to which you have alluded. Is it the, man's got yaoi hands and a hammer to match. Wait. The chair's been moved.
Yes!
Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that has nothing to do whatsoever with the magnificent lady's handbag. Yes, that's a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't notice it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea why the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. Can't believe you got into a fight with a cowboy. However, as Prosecutor Ouchie points out, unless a firm connection to this case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Crumpets, tea, crumpets, crumpets and tea. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett is a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear. Of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. No less is his membership pass for Longhorn Steakhouse. I assume that's a thing. What's your thinking on this, Roanoke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with this case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. If I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might be able to uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am. If we can just link that burn to this case, we can do that. We might be able to prise this shutting door back open again. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. If we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed the burn. As soon as you pointed it out, I did notice was the colour draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. Yeah. It's time to find some evidence that proves that what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates the inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. Where did this burn come from? The plate!
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yes, another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. And yes, no less, it's kind of hard to tell that the colour drained from her face, isn't it? Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need to stay with us a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. Ellipses nuts. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is in the photograph that explains the reason for this victim's burn? What indeed? Target locked and present.
Yes!
The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate? Your Excellency, are you right? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnaval. Oh. The emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Right, okay. Wait. Ryunosuke, you genius. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that's the case, we can't know if it happened in the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection!
sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of this burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined. as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was around at 90 degrees centigrade... Wait. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken 3 seconds. It's inconceivable the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of Le Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter.
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yes, Inspector Hasanaga never heard the Professor scream, not on that day or any day before it. That's right. And the strange thing is... Nayless. Damn it, Jim, I'm a G-man, not a waiter. On the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the Professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds, that... Oh, because of the anaesthetic. That would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us would have, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Rhinosuke, do you think? Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson hadn't noticed the burn. Yes, the Professor, being as absent-minded as usual, was unaware of his hand falling onto the piping hot plate, and didn't even notice the burn happening. You didn't even know the Professor, and yet here you are, labelling him as a bumbling scatterbrain. How about I hold your wrist on a hot plate and we'll see how your bumbling scatterbrain copes? Perhaps the scream you let out will wake you up a bit. Well, it's nice that there's a frankness developing between us, partner. Don't call me partner after coming out with nonsense like that. This is a critical moment. It may very well be our only chance to turn things in our favour. So come on. Ryunosake, you can do it. Or rather, you have to do it. You're the only one who can. Okay, now we're back to everyone making fun of the protagonist. This I feel comfortable with. Was already deceased, I guess. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already dead? Wait, already dead? Ellipses nuts.
Knowing what we know now is the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness.
Oh, right, yeah, it was only local anesthetic. Wait, no, because it was laughing gas. That lasts quite a while. And it can't be local. Like, you inhale it. Don't ask me how I know that.
Order, please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot.
That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. Yeah, this is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student. But clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
If it affected the entire body, it'd be a huge hazard. Yeah, to be fair, that's a lot of sort of painkillers like that can be an issue. It's why you're not it's why you're not allowed to drive after certain medical treatments, where in theory you can just walk out. No, Professor Ouchie. It's you who has no... Wait, no, Prosecutor Ouchie. It's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon?
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered a burn while in the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, we now believe that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard. It's hardly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it.
Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But Your Excellency... Ellipses nuts.
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I'm prepared to pass judgment.
Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. Oh, Miss Brett, you speak Japanese? Well, of course I do. I'm studying your country after all. She isn't really British.
But then, why have you been speaking for an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. Oh, yep, she's English. As a gentleman, I try to avoid speaking in your vocal tones as much as possible. Okay, wow. Someone's descendants are going to be football hooligans. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to learn myself to communicating with you all on your own level.
Well, you're the epitome of a true English gentleman. We're truly honoured by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
So we're finally going to hear our own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting. Ryonosuke. Here we go. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea why the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses and toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. I'd like to use it. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably won't pick it up on it anyway.
That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you.
No. There's absolutely no country on this planet anywhere in any time period where someone gets away with talking like that. Like, this is what leads to the War of Gansia. This is how wars are started, by someone demanding to sit on a freaking stool. Easy does it. I hope this is the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone.
Not at all. It is a delight to merely hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is irrelevant.
I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today.
The Minister of Justice?
May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen.
Thanks. Was that a prayer then?
Well, you have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. Ellipses nuts. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much.
I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear?
Sorry, I keep scratching my nose, by the way. That's one way to wake up.
Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination.
Okay, here we go then. Press.
Yes!
But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't have not noticed.
No, the expressive mass doesn't remotely cover for this. True? Do you think so? Let me ask you something.
Sorry?
Ever since I arrived in this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you?
Huh? What? There!
What fun. You hadn't realised.
The dear lady's absolutely right.
As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself. Right, you nose K.
Why don't you tell me?
No, listen, she can't have noticed the stands in the way. It's true. Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honourable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing?
Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can.
Yes!
Well, I can't. Anyway. Notice, it's like a railing. The stream.
Yes!
As you testified before, you're drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at the time, if you remember. Which explains why you ordered that drink. Correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although... Whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Hmm? Damn you. Oh, I have enough English to understand that at least. For the benefit of others in the court, it means bless you. I think it means the exact opposite. Oh yeah, the witness box is see-through. Anyway.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes. Lucky for all of us, the little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist on a hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must already have been dead by that point.
Objection!
And yet, the fact is the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to share the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time. I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Osanaga? As I said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. Notice Christopher Lloyd. Maybe he was poisoned. There will be physical traces of all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the Professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Crumpet. Oh no, perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. Nick, every time he accuses me of something. On my honour, I, Takatuchi Ouchie, will cut down any who cast such aspersions. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence. Okay. So I think this is the one I need to go for. What have we got? Oh yeah, the doctor's report. mean, anesthesia would have, like, seriously. They said the laughing gas would mean you couldn't feel pain. It's got to be it. Okay, let's just do a little savey save.
Yes!
Okay, nope. That wasn't it. Bye. Okay, let's just press on the last one.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at the crime scene for later examination. But in this country, we investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. The carnival is still open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. What's happening there? Have we even seen the wrong answer dialogue yet? You just spot it immediately. Yeah, to be fair, the exclamation mark was one of the exclamation marks was flashing, so which was actually how the very first game did it. I'm trying to be as tactical about this as I can, you understand? A killer blow! The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie has finally started to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Britt just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. What do you think, Ryanosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her and not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryanosuke? There is one thing I noticed, something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga. The detective. Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. Okay, this is a mechanic they're introducing. If you think so, but... No less, the lady's got the tact of Mary Barone, the sitcom character, the evilest mother figure on television. Actually, never mind. Mary did have tact, it was one of her worst qualities. Okay. But this time, instead of targeting the woman herself... Wait, This time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can guess out of the detective. Right then, I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again.
Yes!
Okay, no need to read that out again.
Wait.
No less, from Everyone Loves Raymond. Damn, she was an asshole. The actress playing her was scarily good at the role. Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been on the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right, look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man in his train of thought. Sorry, pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Roy no Sake. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with left and right, you can turn your attention to the other people on the stand. While you're looking at the other witness, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you can catch a person at just the right time, you might uncover new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across with left and right, then focus on the detective. Then pursue him with A and see what's on his mind. Here we go.
Wait.
Target identified. Pursue. What's the meaning of this? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He was really lost in his thoughts. Deeply. It looked like you were thinking of something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court.
Objection!
What's the meaning of this? Yes, the delightful Englishwoman is testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over, immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective's in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosanage? Yes. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes. If you don't mind, I'd like to speak. Ellipses nuts. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. No, it's like team battles in Diamond and Pearl. I think Gen 2 actually introduced them, so it would go back to Gold and Silver. I might be wrong though. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have any evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. Maybe I'm wrong. Actually, I think you might have been right. It must have been. It was probably Ruby and Sapphire. Crime scene thief. Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Seriously, is there hair at my nose or something? Take this for example. Is that... This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all the fizz, having been open for 3 days now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. The carbonated water bottle has been entered into the court record. The carbonated water the victim, Miss Brett, shared the day of the murder. It was on the victim's table.
Miss Brett? Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle.
What was that about?
She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question.
Very well, counsel. You may resume the cross-examination.
Oh, it was Gen 3, so that'll be Ruby and Sapphire.
And the inspector will kindly control his further.
Okay, let's take a close look at the bottle. The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognise. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be a very expensive water.
Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking.
Then go to France and ask.
You could just say that you don't know.
Okay, the bottle has to be important somehow. So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Rhinosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what this might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me. Rhinosuke, in more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. Notice? Gen 2 was still on the Game Boy Color, on original Game Boy compatible cartridge no less. You don't know if the hardware had room for it. Yeah, you're right actually. Oh wait, I was thinking of somehow I think I must have got Soul Silver and the light mixed up. I think I might have just worked something out, an interesting possibility. Poison. Okay. So, if I try presenting the water to her... Notice, you can't ingest evidence. Only bird lawyers do that.
Yes!
What's this? The bottle of water?
Actually, there's one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Ellipses nuts. Obviously, I'm referring to poison.
Poison?
On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was a poison inside? Ellipses nuts. Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass?
Order, order, order!
And on that day, he was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink. There's only one person who could have done it all. Giselle Brett, it was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous! To suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence! You little rookie imbecile! Have you considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten we've only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling of that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime.
What?
The fact this woman is British makes no difference. We're here to determine the truth. If I may.
Shut up!
It is you who should be silent.
Of course. Dear lady?
Where'd that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies.
I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring?
I described your police force as inferior. Listen, no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not. Of course.
You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already?
I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it.
Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And what did you find, Inspector?
I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in the country at this present time. We could find no trace of poison or of any description on the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the Chief Coroner himself. No, no. I'm very grateful to all of you, Japanese. You successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you.
Of course, dear lady. The pleasure was all ours.
I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls in place if he was poisoned.
Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, The accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett.
Oh no, I'm just glad the matter has been resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present to the court at this point?
Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'd like to excuse me now, I really must be leaving. By sitting down.
Hold it!
Oh, hey. Please wait. Isn't that...
What's the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Suzasu Mikotoba, judicial assistant to the defense.
Mikotoba? In my darkest hour with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth.
To be continued. Save my current progress. Saved. What are we up to? 3 hours, 56 minutes. Okay, I think I'll call it here. Because quite frankly, I think my brain's about to leak out of my ears. And also my throat kind of hurts. Gotta save my voice for D&D tomorrow. So yeah, I'll just find someone to read. Nellis, good to be back in the courtroom again. Yep, it's nostalgic. Viewers seem to have fallen off after a while, but hey, I don't do this for viewership. Mostly. Okay, what have we got? The Bunyip Man's playing Rise of the Golden Idol. Yeah, I think we'll raid the Bunyip Man then. One good puzzle game deserves another, or something. Anyways, I'll be back tomorrow. Well, I'll be on my own channel again. And, yep, basically it's going to be more D&D. Then I'll be back on Wednesday with more Ace Attorney. And Thursday, I'll be doing a collaboration with Envis, which will be interesting, because I know exactly how they play certain games, some certain Baldur's Gate, as it were. And then Friday, I'll be on Nick's channel for A5E, as run by Pixel. But yeah, I'm rambling a bit now, so hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for the next part of Guinness Pig. And we're going to raid in 3, 2, 1, let's go. And yes, Nailers, when I've got a week off, I use it. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe.